Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, night, afternoon, evening, morning, whatever. Hope you're all having a great day. Today, we're going to be looking at Terminator Dark Fate. The official synopsis has been revealed, which I know that sounds really weird because we've been talking about this film for a while, but the synopsis actually hasn't been revealed. And then also, we've got character featurettes. Now, I think these dropped about 2 days ago or so. I haven't done them because I was busy with the Joker. If you've seen the review, it's like 20 minutes long. If you haven't seen it, here's my review of the Joker there. So I have been somewhat busy, prior engaged, as it were. So let's take a look at the official synopsis. This is all actually over on Fandango. And they had an interview with Tim Miller, and we had some various kind of character featurettes, some official snippets of info with regards to each individual character. So let's get into it. Oh, just as a heads up, this is from the TerminatorFans.com. Great website. They are a good aggregator for Terminator news. So yeah, head on over there if you want as well. But anyway, let's check it out. So the official synopsis is as follows. More than 2 decades have passed since Sarah Connor prevented Judgment Day, changed the future, and rewrote the fate of the human race. Dani Ramos is living a simple life in Mexico City with her brother and her father when a highly advanced and deadly new Terminator, a Rev 9, travels back through time to hunt and kill her. Dani's survival depends on her joining forces with 2 warriors. Grace, who is played by Mackenzie Davis, an enhanced super soldier from the future, and a battle-hardened Sarah Connor. As the Rev 9 ruthlessly destroys everything and everyone in its path on the hunt for Dani, the 3 are led to a T-800, Arnold Schwarzenegger, from Sarah's past that may be their best hope. So there you go. I've not actually read that yet. Interesting. I will say this, the synopsis says how hardcore the Rev 9 is. Haven't really seen it in marketing material. Would have been good to lead with that, but never mind. So let's take a look at Sarah Connor featurettes. Interesting that they say the Terminator T-800 is from Sarah Connor's past. Lends some credence to the leaks, I will say that much. But let's get into it.
I saved 3 billion lives. Enough of a resume for you.
This movie continues the story of Sarah Connor that was started years ago.
Knowing the certainty of the future to come, this character is a warrior for humanity against machines. I'll be back.
This is a great kick-ass action hero. She's not waiting to be hunted by a Terminator. She hunts them.
I am going to kill you, you metal mother.
Okay, good. I was thinking like a little bit more would have been revealed there. It's not too bad really, is it? Like, it's quite good. Featurettes. I always like featurettes for most movies. And I always like little background snippets of information. There's not really anything new here. I mean, she does say having known the certainty of the future or something like that. We're not going to wait around and let it happen or something along those lines. Interesting. I do think I'll take my headphones out briefly so I'm not shouting. I do think it's will be interesting as to how they go around the I guess plot hole of how Sarah Connor is able to hunt Terminators. And what I mean by that is, how would she know their location? How would she know what they look like? Things like that. That's one of the things I'm actually intrigued about. I'm interested to see how that lands in the movie, because you know you can have her be hardened and things like that, but I'd really love to know how she knows where the Terminators are. Maybe she killed one and then got his data banks. I don't know. I'm just it's early. I need a coffee. I'm just spewing nonsense, but I think that will be interesting to see how that comes around. So let's look at the T-800. This is obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger's character.
Arnold is back as the T-800.
We go further with the T-800 adopting human behavior. My past has caught up with me.
He overcame his programming to take matters into his own hand.
In this movie, I'm confronting things that are more powerful and dangerous.
I love what they've done with his character.
I'm going to help you protect the girl because I choose to.
Nice. Okay. Okay, so this actually has a lot more revealed about it. So he's overcome his programming. Interesting. Goes hand in hand with the plot leaks. I will keep saying that because it's important information to note. So that does go hand in hand with the plot leaks. The fact that it's from Sarah Connor's past. This specific model, as per the plot synopsis, it does say the thriller led to a T-800 from Sarah's past. That may be their last hope. So, yeah, I mean, it as much as you'll hate me for saying it, it does go hand in hand with the plot leaks. There's a lot in here with his... He's really battle damaged in this. I'm just going to scroll on just a little bit. It's interesting that it's kind of like an amalgamation of Pops from Terminator Genesis and Uncle Bob, if that makes any sense. You know, like a little bit more of a more robotic Uncle Bob, but not, with a little bit more humanity. So, like I say, kind of like an Uncle Bob crossed with Pops, a more robotic Pops crossed with an Uncle Bob. Sorry. I wanted to flash forward to... He's really... His arm is fucked up in this. Where is it? Yeah, here you go. Absolutely messed up. His arm's mangled. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, he's a legend. He's an absolute living legend. So it's always good to see him back. Yeah, not much else really to talk about on that one, to be fair. I think this line's quite interesting.
I love what they've done with his character.
I'm going to help you protect the girl because I choose to.
So, yeah, interesting. I don't know what's happened with this one. Maybe it's not available anymore. Never mind, won't be watching that one. Maybe they've realised there's some spoilers there. I don't know. How strange. Mackenzie Davis. Apparently, this will be interesting. Grace.
Never seen one like you before. Almost human.
I am human. Just enhanced.
Line delivery's good.
Mackenzie Davis's character is really interesting. Is she good? Is she bad? She's definitely not entirely human.
She can stand toe-to-toe with a Terminator.
Grace comes back from the future to ensure the safety of young Danny Ramos. You, Danny, you're my mission. She is the ultimate protector.
Thanks, lady.
Don't thank me yet.
Thanks, lady. Don't thank me yet. That was interesting. The line delivery actually here is really quite good.
Almost human.
I am human. Just enhanced.
So that's very believable. Like I know it sounds strange, but it is very believable. Dialogue, the pause and things like that, very, very good. The future war scenes, I don't know, not actually a huge fan of that, to be fair. And I constantly watching this Rev 9 get his ass handed to him. Not the best. Oof. Oof. Just gonna leave that there for a little bit. Oof. Right, anyway. Let's look at what the Rev 9's got in store for us.
Expect a big ping, brother. My whole body's a weapon. Sorry.
This Terminator is the Rev 9, the most effective killing machines in the franchise. It's so deadly because it can split into two different entities.
It is really scary.
His powers and capabilities, they're pretty damn spectacular.
Come with me or you're dead in the next 30 seconds.
So, someone says something very funny about that, is that, come with me or you're dead in the next 30 seconds. Someone commented, obviously it's a play on come with me if you want to live. But come with me if you're dead in the next 30 seconds. But you take like another few seconds to say it.
You can go into battle and fight a Rev 9, but killing a Rev 9 is almost impossible.
Okay. So they're kind of, in the featurette, they're kind of explaining why they're showing the Rev 9 getting his ass handed all the time. Because you can fight them, but you can't kill them. Which is the same as the T-1000, in fairness. So I don't say that that really has any benefit of anything, shape or form. It just gives them a little bit of plot armor as to why they're able to show him just have his ass beat every single time. Which is fine, I guess. It's still suspension of disbelief. I don't feel tension when I'm watching this guy get his ass beat all the time. Now, there is an interview with Fandango. It's fairly long. There were some comments. We'll go through it because there were some comments actually about Edward Furlong, which he was very cagey about. So Fandango said the first two Terminator movies are about stopping the Connors. First it's Sarah and then it's John. Is this one also about stopping the Connors? What can you say to that? Well, I would say that the first two movies were about stopping Judgment Day and the Rise of the Machines. And I would say that this movie is about stopping Judgment Day and the Rise of the Machines. Because what you find is that at the end of T2, Sarah thought that her actions may have averted Judgment Day, but it didn't. And what we find in our movie is that the rise of AI is inevitable and Judgment Day is inevitable. She just kicked the can down the road. So it's just a new AI. Otherwise, he would have said Skynet. And so what you're saying is that responsibility has shifted away from the Connors to someone else. Is that accurate? Oh, good question, Fandango. I think this movie is about the responsibility shifting to someone else. Danny Ramos, the leader of the Resistance. When Sarah destroyed Cyberdyne at the end of the second movie, what changed? That changed the future. The change rolled forward through time and overrode what was there before and wrote a new future, confirms the leaks. It just so happens that that future is similar, confirms the leaks. Legion, Skynet. And perhaps even darker than the one that had been there before. Legion, said to be worse than Skynet. So we're seeing the change of that. But it doesn't really make sense as far as any time travel stuff makes sense. But if you change something in the future, it's going to have a different result. New heroes would rise. Danny Ramos, leader of the Resistance. New challenges would rise. And that future would be different from the one that had existed before. There's only one future. Interesting. Fans of the series are excited to see it returning to its R-rated roots. Was that built in from the very beginning, or did you have to fight to make sure it was R-rated? Well, the decisions are always about economics, and I don't think I'm divulging any secrets when I say it was undecided. When we started, exactly how that was going to be handled. Well, on the filmmakers' side of the equation, we all wanted R, because that's the DNA of Terminator, and that's the best version of the movie, is an R-rated movie. But there's also the economic equation of you can certainly bisect the audience a bit by doing that. So how do you do it? And we hadn't come to a decision by the time we started shooting, so I covered myself. So we wrote hard R in and not, I guess. I got language that would only belong in an R-rated film, and I covered the action in such a way that we could go R-rated when the time came, i.e. like CGI blood. And it came early enough that the decision was made and I could still switch to that sort of slightly different path. And much of that is shown how you can handle the VFX. Yeah, so it's VFX. If you have a guy with blade hands and he stabbed somebody, you can do that in PG-13 or R, CGI blood. Really, the difference is whether the blade comes out the back and does it have a spurt of blood. With it, that differentiates R from PG-13 and lots of other little things. So, hey, mother effer, she likes to cuss. So speaking of Linda, what was said to her to convince her to return to after all of these years? I think if you knew Linda, you could see that she's not a woman who can be convinced of anything. I think everyone knows that. I think that she believed that it was the right time to come back for a lot of reasons. I think Jim coming back was one of them. I think she liked the initial story that we pitched to her about what it would be. But I think really the biggest thing is that she thought it would be interesting to see what had happened to her character in the intervening years when she took this big step at the end of the second movie. How did that play out? And did that play out in an interesting way for her character? She's not a person who wants to be an easy ride. She didn't want Sarah to walk an easy path. She likes it to be dark and interesting. So, the film is billed as finishing Sarah Connor's story. What do you feel still needs to be resolved when it comes to that Sarah Connor character post Terminator 2? What are some of the things that we're looking to complete when it comes to her journey? Here we go, interesting. I always looked at it as examining the consequences of the choices she makes, and this movie has a time travel aspect, of course, but all of us kind of face the same problem where you make decisions in your life that will have big consequences in the future based on the path you pick and the decisions you make. And sometimes you have to make those decisions without a complete understanding of the implications of those decisions. And it's something, I think, that everybody can relate to. And often, as I'm sure we've all experienced, sometimes those decisions don't work out well. So I think that this movie was about Sarah examining the implications of those decisions. So he then goes on to say about James Cameron. He says it's almost like Jim set it up for a sequel, even though you didn't feel like you were waiting for a sequel at the end of T2. When Sarah says, I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time I faced it with hope. Turns out she was wrong. But it does feel like there needs to be a further explanation of it, because she said, I did some shit here and I don't know what happens next. That's where we come in and say, well, this is what happens next. Interesting. Now, here's the Edward Furlong part. He's very cagey about it. You also have Eddie Furlong returning as John Connor. What did he think when you went to him and pitched him on coming back? I think Eddie's role is an interesting one, and I can't really talk about it. Okay, but he's in the film though, right? Yeah, Eddie is in it, yes. And that's it. You can Fandango. We'll leave it at that. Arnold is, of course, back in the first film. He's the villain. The second, he's a hero. How would you describe his character in this film? I think that he fulfills both roles in this film, i.e. confirming the leaks that he's the one that murders Eddie Furlong. Depending on what point you come into the movie, i.e. at the start. He could be both, which is why I think it's really interesting. And people love Arnold so much that they're just so happy when he shows up, hero or villain. Yeah, I mean, that's right. They just love seeing him on the screen, which was quite shocking for us, because you construct scenes in a way, and you think in your secret little arrogant filmmaker heart that you're manipulating the audience to feel one way or another. But sometimes the audience has their own agenda. And with Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's almost always, holy F, that's Arnold. It's kind of crazy. So he also, he's basically the T-800. There's not really much else to go on. So he touches on T2 has some big leaps in technology. Was the biggest technological leap that we're able to do with this one? How does this film push tech forward, or does it? It's hard to say what we've broken in new ground when you compare it to films like Avengers Endgame or all the great things that you might find in blockbusters these days. But I'll just say that I know that the roots of Terminator and cutting VFX, but also very practical, and I try to adhere to that ethos. Okay. Mackenzie Davis is a hybrid cyborg human. What can you say about her character? Well, there's always this trinity in Jim's Terminator movies where there's the prey, the protector, and the hunter. So if you're going to fulfill that trinity, Kyle Reese was the protector in the first Terminator film, and Sarah and the T-800 kind of fulfilled that role in the second one. We knew we wanted that same thing to be true in ours. We wanted someone to come back from the future to tell us what it was like and what had happened there, and to come back to protect Danny from the threat that is coming from the future. And so we pitched a lot of different things, but Grace was this character with Joe Abercrombie pitched, and it's like, what if in the future they use stolen Legion technology to enhance these humans? Confirms the leaks. We only knew about these things from the leaks. From these humans to be a machine fighter, and they're sort of frontline troops, and they can stand against Legion. Not for long, but long enough to let other people escape. They're sort of the shock troopers, or I like to think of them as the forlorn hope, because they die early and quickly. They're strong and fast and vicious, but nobody can stand against the forces of Legion for long. Just hopefully long enough to save everybody else. So look, there's not much else really. There's, little bits of what the Rev 9 can do, where artificial intelligence is heading. He's a bit more human. He's very advanced. He's absolutely hardcore. There's a lot of stuff there. But it's all, there's not much else really to go into. So He says, you know, I've also heard rumours about this film being a badass action movie, but also very emotional. Would you agree? Oh, I think it's hugely emotional. So just some comments there about emotional impacting. That's it. Like, it's a good interview. A lot of it's PR spin, as with all of these things. But there you go. This is a fucking long video. I didn't mean for this to be that long. I'm really sorry. If you have enjoyed it, though, please do let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this down below. If you're new here, make sure you do hit subscribe. You can stay up to date on the world of pop culture and movie news by hitting the bell notification icon. All returning subscribers, please do turn the bell notifications on, because I do impromptu live streams. I did one last night. If you weren't aware, because you didn't have your bell notifications on. Please do follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. H Reviews. Also, if you want to support the channel further, got merch underneath every single video, as well as Patreon, linked down below in the description box. Anyway, thank you so much. Check out my Joker review. I've been Mr. H. Take care.